chapters 9 through 16 of the Book of Exodus, from the Holy Bible in Modern English. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. The Holy Bible in Modern English, translated by Ferrar Fenton. The Book of Exodus, chapters 9 through 16. Chapter 9. Consequently the ever-living said to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh and tell him, 'Thus says the ever-living God of the Hebrews, let my people go and serve me. However, if you are unwilling to release them, and you are again obstinate with them, then the hand of the ever-living shall bring upon your herds that are in the field, and upon your horses, and asses, and camels, and cattle, and sheep, a very severe punishment. But the ever-living will distinguish between the herds of Israel and between the herds of the Mitzrites, and in all the herds of Israel nothing shall die.'" The ever-living, however, fixed a period. "After a while the ever-living will do this thing in the country." The ever-living accordingly brought the event at the period, and killed a number of the cattle of the Mitzrites, but of the cattle of the Israelites not any died. Pharaoh also sent to examine, and discovered that of the cattle of the Israelites none had died. Yet Pharaoh hardened his heart, and would not let the people go. Subsequently the ever-living said to Moses and Aaron, "Take up for yourselves hands full of ashes from the smeltery furnaces, and let Moses fling them to the sky in the sight of Pharaoh. And they shall become a fine dust over all the land of Mitzr, and it shall settle upon man and beast, to inflame and produce boils in all the land of the Mitzrayim." They took therefore ashes from a smeltery, and presented themselves before Pharaoh. And Moses flung them skyward, and they produced inflammatory boils upon man and beast, and the scientists were not able to stand before Moses, for the inflammation came upon the scientists as well as upon the other Mitzrites. But the ever-living hardened Pharaoh's heart, so he would not listen to them, as the ever-living had foretold to Moses. Afterwards the ever-living said to Moses, "Arise at dawn, and go and stand before Pharaoh, and say to him, 'Thus says the ever-living God of the Hebrews, release my people to serve me. Or else this time I will fling with all my might upon your heart, and on your ministers, and on your people, so that they may learn that there is none except myself in the whole earth. For now I will send my hand against and strike you, yourself and your people, with the object of destroying you from the earth. If you oppose yourself to my people, to prevent them from going, I will rain at the date appointed in the future very fierce hail, such as has not been in Mitzr from the day it was founded until now. Therefore send your cattle to shelters, and all that you have in the field. Every man and beast that remains in the field, and is not gathered into houses, the hail will come down upon them and kill them." Those of the ministers of Pharaoh who feared the message of the ever-living collected their servants and their cattle into the houses. But those who did not lay the message of the ever-living to heart left their servants and cattle in the field. The ever-living afterwards said to Moses, "Extend your hand to the skies, and there will come hail in all the land of the Mitzrayim, upon man, and upon beast, and upon all that is in the field, in the land of the Mitzrayim." So Moses extended his rod to the skies, and the ever-living uttered his voice, and fire ran along the ground, and the ever-living poured hail upon the land of the Mitzrayim. And there was hail and continuous fire mixed with the hail, very cruel, such as had never been like it in all the land of the Mitzrayim, from when it became a nation. The hail also struck in all the land of the Mitzrayim whatever was in the field, from man to beast, and all the vegetation of the field was struck by the hail, and all the trees of the field broken, except in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were. There the hail was not. After this Pharaoh sent and invited Moses and Aaron, and said to them, "I have sinned this time. The ever-living has done right, and I and my people have done wrong. Pray to the ever-living, for mighty are the utterances of God, and the hail, and I will release you, and no more continue to prevent." But Moses answered him, "When I am outside of the city, I will spread out my hands to the ever-living, when the voices will cease, and the hail will not continue, so that you may learn that the earth belongs to the ever-living, and that you and your ministers may learn at last to fear before the presence of the ever-living God." So the flax and the barley were cut up, for the barley was in ear, and the flax in flour. But the wheat and rye were not cut up, for they were of later growth. When Moses went from the presence of Pharaoh outside the city, he spread his hands before the ever-living, and the voices ceased, and the hailstorm poured not earthward. But when Pharaoh perceived that the rain and hail and voices had ceased, he continued to sin and hardened his heart, he and his ministers. So Pharaoh's heart was obstinate, and he would not release the children of Israel, as the ever-living foretold by the hand of Moses. Chapter 10. Therefore the ever-living said to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh, for I will strike his heart and the heart of his ministers with 2 other evidences in their midst, that you can record for the ears of your sons and your sons' sons how I brought you up from the Mitzrayim, and the evidences that I produced among them, that they might know that I am the ever-living." Moses and Aaron consequently went to Pharaoh and said to him, "Thus says the ever-living God of the Hebrews, until when will you refuse, resisting to my face, to release my people to serve me? However, if you continue refusing to release my people, I will bring locusts shortly into your dominions, and they shall hide the sight of the ground, so that you shall not be able to see the ground, and they shall eat the remains of the fragments of what has been left to you from the hail, and shall eat all your fruit trees from the field, and shall fill your palace and the palaces of your ministers and the houses of all the Mitzrites in such a way as you have never seen, or your fathers, or the fathers of your fathers, from the day they lived upon the earth to this day." Then he ceased and went away from Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh's ministers said to him, "How long is this thing to go on with us, to ensnare us? Release these men to serve their ever-living God. Do you not know that Mizar is already destroyed?" Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh, and he accordingly said to them, "Go, serve the ever-living your God. Who and what do you wish should go with you?" So Moses replied, "With our young and our old we shall go, with our sons and our daughters, with our sheep and our cattle we shall go, so that we may hold a holy festival to our God." He, however, exclaimed, "The ever-living must be with you. Then, when I let you go with your children, look out, for evil is before you. It shall never be so, but you may go now and make a pilgrimage and serve your ever-living, for that is what you asked." And they were driven from the presence of Pharaoh. Then the ever-living said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the land of the Mitzrayim for the locusts, and they shall come up upon the land of Mizar, and shall eat everything green in the country, all that the hail has left." So Moses extended his rod over the country of the Mitzrayim, and the ever-living drove an east wind over the country all that day and all the night, until the morning came. And the east wind carried the locusts. And the locusts came up over all the country of the Mitzrayim, and seized upon all the dominions of the Mitzrayim very grievously. Before them there were no such locusts, and never since have there been such. They even hid the ground from sight, and blackened the earth, and ate every green thing upon the ground, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left, and no verdure was left on the trees, or grass on the fields, in all the land of the Mitzrayim. Then Pharaoh hastened and summoned Moses and Aaron, and said, "I have sinned against the ever-living God and against you. Therefore pardon now my sin, only this once, and entreat the ever-living God to turn from me also this death." So they went out from Pharaoh and entreated the ever-living, and the Lord caused a very strong west wind to blow, and it swept off the locusts and blew them into the Red Sea. There was not a locust in all the dominions of the Mitzrayim. But the ever-living strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he would not release the children of Israel. Afterwards the ever-living said to Moses, "Stretch your hand towards the sky, and darkness shall come upon all the land of the Mitzrayim, and a darkness that may be felt." Therefore Moses stretched his hand to the skies, and thick darkness came upon all the land of the Mitzrayim for 3 days. No one saw his brother, and no one rose from his place for 3 days. But to all the children of Israel there was light for their operations. Then Pharaoh sent for Moses and said, "Go, serve the ever-living. Only your sheep and cattle must stay. Your children also may go with you." But Moses replied, You must also give to our hands sacrifices and offerings that we can make to our ever-living God, and therefore our herds must go with us, not a hoof must be left. For we must take from them to serve our ever-living God, and we cannot be knowing what we must serve the ever-living with until we arrive there. The Lord, however, hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he was not willing to release the people. Therefore Pharaoh replied to him, Get off from me, and take care to yourself never again to see my face. For on the day you look again on my face, you shall die. When Moses answered, As you have spoken right, I never will look on your face again. Chapter 11. Then the ever-living said to Moses, I will bring yet another blow upon Pharaoh and upon the Mitzrayim, after which he will release you. They all will release you, driving you from there. Therefore privately instruct the people that they must demand, every man from his neighbor, and every woman from her neighbor, articles of silver and articles of gold. The ever-living also gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites, for the man Moses was very powerful in the land of Mitzr, in the eyes of the ministers of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of the people. After that Moses proclaimed, Thus says the ever-living, At midnight I will pass through the land of the Mitzrayim, and kill all the firstborn in the land of Mitzr, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits upon the throne, to the firstborn of the slave who sits behind the mill, as well as the firstborn of the cattle. And a great cry will go up from all the land of Mitzr, when these are not, and those are perished. But from all the children of Israel there shall not be hurt a dog's tongue, that you may know that the ever-living distinguishes between the Mitzrites and Israel. Then all your ministers shall descend and bow down to me, saying, Go away, you with all the people who are following you, and after that I will depart. Thus he went from before Pharaoh in burning anger. Then the ever-living said to Moses, Since Pharaoh will not listen to you, I will increase my evidences in the land of the Mitzrayim. Therefore Moses and Aaron effected all these evidences before Pharaoh. Yet the ever-living hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he would not release the children of Israel from his country. Chapter 12. Consequently the ever-living spoke to Moses and to Aaron in the land of the Mitzrayim, commanding, This month shall be to you the chief month. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak to all the families of Israel, commanding that in the 10th month they shall take for themselves each one a lamb for a father's house, a lamb for a family. But if the family is too small for a lamb, then let him and the neighbor to his house, according to the number of persons who are to eat, share in the lamb. It must be a perfect he-lamb of a year. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats, and you must keep it by you until the 14th day of this month. Then kill it. All the assembly of the families of Israel must kill it between the dusks. Then they shall take the blood and sprinkle upon the 2 doorposts and upon the lintel of the houses where they eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roasted with fire. They shall eat it with unfermented bread and bitter herbs. They shall not eat any of it parboiled, or boiled in a boiler, but only roasted with fire, its head and limbs and ribs. And they shall not reserve any of it till the morning, but what is left of it at the morning they shall consume with fire, and they shall eat it in this way, girt with their belts, their shoes on their feet, and their sticks in their hands, and they shall eat it rapidly. It is a passing over to the ever-living. For I will pass through the land of the Mitzrayim in that night, and strike all the firstborn of the Mitzrites from man to beast. Upon all the gods of the Mitzrites also I will execute judgment. I, the ever-living. But the blood upon your houses shall be a safeguard to you, that you are there. When I see the blood, then I will pass over you, and there shall not be a life injured in my destruction of the land of the Mitzrayim. Therefore this day shall be to you for a remembrance and a festival. It shall be a festival to the ever-living in your generations, an ordinance forever. You shall sanctify it. You shall eat unfermented bread for 7 days. That is, in the first day you shall remove ferment from your houses. For all who eat fermented bread then, that person shall be excommunicated from Israel, from the 1st day to the 7th day. So the 1st day shall be proclaimed holy, and the 7th day shall be proclaimed holy for you. You shall not do any work upon them, except for what every person must eat. You shall only do that. Therefore guard these days of unfermented bread. For on these days I led out your armies from the land of the Mitzrayim with power. Consequently, keep this period as an everlasting institution in your generations. Beginning at the 14th day of the month at the dusk, to eat fermented bread, until the 21st of the month at dusk. During 7 days, ferment shall not be brought into your houses. For everyone eating of fermented bread, that person shall be excommunicated from the families of Israel, whether a foreigner or a native of the country. You shall not eat of any in your dwellings. You shall eat biscuits. Moses therefore proclaimed to all the magistrates of Israel, saying, Blow the trumpet, and select for yourselves a lamb for your families, and kill the Passover, and take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood which ensues, and sprinkle the lintel and the 2 doorposts with the blood which ensues. And none of you shall go out from the door of his house until daybreak. For at dusk the ever-living will strike the Mitzrites. But when he sees the blood on the lintel and upon the 2 doorposts, then the ever-living will pass over the door, and will not allow injury to come to that house to strike it. You shall also keep this command as an institution for you and your sons forever. Also, when you have arrived at the land which the ever-living will give you, as he promised, you shall there also regard this service. And when your children shall say to you, What is this service for? You shall reply, This is the sacrifice of the Passover to the ever-living, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Mitzar, when he struck the Mitzrites and protected our houses. Therefore the people shall bow down and worship. So the children of Israel went and did as the ever-living commanded to Moses and Aaron. They did it. When that midnight came, the ever-living struck all the firstborn in the land of the Mitzrayim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat upon the throne, to the firstborn of the prisoner in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. Then Pharaoh and all his ministers arose in the night with all the Mitzrites, and there was a great shriek among the Mitzrayim, for there was not a house in which there was not someone dead. Consequently he sent to Moses and Aaron by night, and said, Rise up, go away from among my people, both yourselves and the children of Israel. Go, serve the ever-living as he has commanded you, and take your sheep and your cattle as you demanded, and march. But therefore bless me. The Mitzrites also pressed on the people to hasten them to go out from the country. For, they said, we shall all be dead. So the people took up the dough before it was fermented with yeast, rolled up in their knapsacks on their shoulders. The children of Israel also had done as Moses ordered, and had demanded from the Mitzrites ornaments of silver and articles of gold and clothing. And the ever-living gave them favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites. Thus they demanded from them, and escaped from the Mitzrayim. Then the children of Israel marched from Ramesses to the encampment, about 600,000 men, beside children. Many strangers also went up with them, and very great herds of sheep and cattle. They also baked the dough which they had brought from the Mitzrayim into biscuits, before it was fermented, for the Mitzrites drove them, and they were not able to ferment it, as well as also being ordered not to do it. Now the period of the residence of the children of Israel, during which they stayed amongst the Mitzrites, was 430 years. And it was at the end of the 430th year, upon the selfsame day, that all the armies of the ever-living came out from the land of the Mitzrayim. It is a night to be observed to the ever-living, for he brought them out from the land of the Mitzrayim. It is the night of observance to the ever-living, for all the children of Israel and their descendants. The ever-living had said to Moses and Aaron, This is the feast of the Passover, and son of a foreigner shall not eat it, but every person bought with money when he has been circumcised may eat of it. It shall be eaten by single families. They shall not carry any of its flesh outside of the house, and a bone of it shall not be broken. Every family in Israel shall offer it, and if there resides with you a foreigner, and he would offer the Passover to the ever-living, let him cause every male to be circumcised. He may then approach to offer it, when he shall be like a native of the country, but any uncircumcised person shall not eat of it. One law shall be for the native and for the foreigner, who is among you. So all the children of Israel did as the ever-living commanded to Moses and Aaron. They did it. Thus it was on the selfsame day the ever-living caused the children of Israel to go out from the land of the Mitzrayim with their armies. Chapter 13. The ever-living also commanded to Moses, Consecrate to me every firstborn proceeding from every womb of the children of Israel, both of man and beast. It is mine. Therefore Moses said to the people, Remember this day when you came out of the land of the Mitzrayim, from the house of bondage, for with a strong hand the ever-living brought you from there, so you shall not eat fermented bread. The time when you came out was in the month of harvest. Consequently, when the ever-living brings you to the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore to give to you, a land flowing with milk and honey, then you shall perform this service in this month. For 7 days you shall eat biscuits, and on the 7th day shall be a festival to the ever-living. You shall eat biscuits for 7 days, and fermented bread shall not be seen with you, nor shall ferment be seen in all your boundaries. You shall inform your children of this day, saying, This is for the passing over the ever-living made for us in bringing us out from the Mitzrayim. Thus it will be to you like a mark on your hand, and as a remembrance between your eyes, so that the reverence for the ever-living may be before you. For with a strong hand the ever-living led you out from the Mitzrayim. Therefore you shall observe this institution for a witness for ever and ever. And when the ever-living has brought you to the land of Canaan, which he promised to you and to your fathers that he would give you, then you shall devote every firstborn of the womb to the ever-living, and every first offspring of cattle which shall come to you as a male to the ever-living. But every firstborn of an ass you shall redeem with a lamb, or if you do not redeem it, then break its neck. Every eldest male, however, of your children you shall redeem. When any of your sons then shall ask you hereafter, saying, Why is this? You shall reply to him, The ever-living brought us out from the Mitzrayim with a strong hand, from the house of bondage. And when Pharaoh refused to release us, then the ever-living slew all the firstborn in the land of the Mitzrayim, from the firstborn of man to the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrificed to the ever-living all the first male offspring of the womb, and all the firstborn of men I redeem. Thus they will be like marks upon your hand, and as frontlets between your eyes, that with a strong hand the ever-living brought you from Mizar. However, when Pharaoh had released the people, God did not conduct them out by way of the country of the Philistines, although it was the nearest. For God said, If I should conduct the people to the site of war, they will return to the Mitzrayim. Therefore God turned the people to the way by the desert of the Sea of Weeds. The children of Israel, however, marched in readiness for battle from the land of the Mitzrayim. Moses also took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had administered an oath to the children of Israel, saying, The ever-living will visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here with you. So they marched from the encampment, and pitched on the borders of the desert. And the ever-living went before them by day in a pillar of cloud, to direct them on the way, and in a pillar of fire by night, to light them in the way by day and night. The pillar of cloud never departed by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people. Chapter 14. Then the ever-living spoke to Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they must turn and encamp before Pi Hachiroth, between Migdol and the sea, in front of Baal-Zephon. You shall encamp directly opposite the sea. Upon which Pharaoh will exclaim, The children of Israel have confused themselves as to the country. The desert shuts them in. And I will embolden the heart of Pharaoh, and he will pursue you. And then I will be honored by Pharaoh and by all his forces, and the Mitzrites shall know that I am the ever-living. They accordingly did it. When it was reported to the king of the Mitzrayim that the people had fled, then the heart of Pharaoh and of his ministers changed about the people, and they said, What is it that we have done? Why have we released the people from serving us? Consequently he had his own chariot harnessed, and took his forces with him, and took 600 officers' chariots, and all the chariots of the Mitzrayim, with 3 men upon each of them. Thus the ever-living emboldened the heart of Pharaoh, king of the Mitzrayim, and he pursued after the children of Israel. But the children of Israel went out with a high hand. The Mitzrites, however, pursued after them, and came up with them and camped by the sea. all the horse chariots of Pharaoh and his forces, at Pi-hachiroth, before Baal-Zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the children of Israel raised their eyes, and saw the Mitzrites marching after them, and they were terrified. So the children of Israel cried out to the ever-living, and they said to Moses, "Because there were no graves among the Mitzrayim, have you brought us out from Mitzar into the desert to die? Was not this what we said to you in Mitzar? Let us alone, and we will serve the Mitzrites? For it is better for us to serve the Mitzrites than that we should die in the desert." Moses, however, replied to the people, "Fear not, stand still, and you shall see the victory of the ever-living which he will effect for you today. For although you see the Mitzrites today, you shall not see them again for ever and ever. The Lord will fight with them, and you shall keep silent." The ever-living then said to Moses, "Why do you cry to me? Command the children of Israel to march. And you, raise your staff and extend your hand over the sea, when it will divide itself, and the children of Israel can go through it, as upon dry land. But I myself will embolden the hearts of the Mitzrites, and they shall follow after them. Then I shall be honored by Pharaoh and by all his forces, by his charioteers and horsemen, and the Mitzrites shall learn that I am the ever-living, by my conquering over Pharaoh and his horsemen." Then the messenger of God, who went before the camp of Israel, marched, and went behind them. And the pillar of cloud also marched from before them, and stood at their rear, and went between the camp of the Mitzrites and the camp of Israel, and became a cloud and darkness, even of the light of the night, so that the one approached not to the other all the night. When Moses stretched his hand over the sea, the ever-living caused a strong east wind to blow, and rolled back the waters all that night, and made the sea like dry land, and made a plain in the waters. Then the children of Israel passed through the sea on the dried-up part, and the waters were to them a protection on their right hand and upon their left. The Mitzrites also pursued and went after them, all the horse chariots of Pharaoh and his horsemen, into the midst of the sea. But when the morning watch arrived, the ever-living looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud onto the army of Mitzrayim, and broke off the wheels from their chariots, and confused the ranks of the drivers, so that the Mitzrites exclaimed, "Let us fly from the presence of Israel, for the ever-living fights for them against the Mitzrites." Then the ever-living said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, and the waters shall return upon the Mitzrites, over their chariots and over their horsemen." So Moses extended his hand over the waters, and the waters returned at the beginning of the morning to their regular flow, and the Mitzrites fled from their approach. Thus the ever-living overwhelmed the Mitzrites in the midst of the sea, and the waters returned and struck the chariots and the horsemen, and all the forces of Pharaoh that went after them into the sea. Not one of them remained. But the children of Israel went along upon the dry land in the midst of the sea, and the water was a protection to them on the right and on the left. Thus the ever-living saved Israel at that time from the hand of the Mitzrites. And Israel saw the Mitzrites dead on the shore of the sea, and Israel also saw the great power by which the ever-living dealt with the Mitzrites. Therefore the people feared the ever-living, and trusted in the Lord and Moses his servant. Chapter 15. Then Moses and the children of Israel sang this song to the ever-living, and said in chorus, "I will sing to the Lord, for with splendid power he has flung the horse and his rider into the sea. I shout and sing to my God, for from him comes my salvation. He is my God, and I rest upon him, the God of my fathers, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a warrior, his name is the Life. He whelmed Pharaoh's cars and his force in the sea, and his generals sank in the sea of the weeds. The breakers sucked to the deeps like stone. Your right hand, Lord, is strong and glorious. Your right hand, Lord, has crushed your foes, and with grandeur destroyed your opponents. You shot your fire, it consumed them as chaff, and the sea was filled by the breath of your mouth. And they lay like heaps for the plunderers. They curdled the waves in the heart of the sea. I will pursue, said the foeman, o'ertake and plunder and sate my lust. Draw my sword, and my hand shall destroy them. You blew with your wind, and the sea overwhelmed, and their princes sank like lead in the seas. Who is like to the Lord among gods? Who like him in his holy splendor, in brightness and honor and powerful acts? You extended your hand, and the earth was shaken. You led in your love this people free, and will bring in your might to your holy home. The nations hearing it trembled. Terror seized on Philistia's men. The chiefs of Edom were also in terror. The princes of Moab shook in their fear, and the people of Canaan dissolved like a cloud. Dread and terror upon them fell. At your mighty power they stood like a stone, until your people, Lord, passed over, until your race had passed out redeemed, whom you brought and fixed as your own on your hill, the place you had chosen, Lord, for your work, to the temple, Almighty, your hands had made. The Lord will reign forever and ever, for the horse of Pharaoh went with his chariot and with his horsemen into the sea, where the Lord turned on them the flood of the waters. But the children of Israel walked on the dry, through the midst of the sea. Miriam the poetess also, the sister of Aaron, took the timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her with timbrels and dances. And Miriam responded to them, "Sing to the Lord, for gloriously triumphing. He has flung the horse and his rider into the sea." Moses afterwards marched the children of Israel from the Red Sea, and departed from the desert of the wall, and advanced 3 days into the desert, but found no water. Then they came to Marah, but were unable to drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore Moses called it Bitterness. Then the people came to Moses to say, "Why have you done this?" So he cried to the Ever-living, and the Ever-living showed him a tree which he put into the water, and it sweetened it. He gave it therefore the name of the pit of calamity, and named it Trial. But he said, "If you will listen to the voice of your ever-living God, and do what is right in his eyes, and give your ears to his commands, and keep all his institutions, all the plagues which I laid upon the Mitzrites I will not lay upon you, for I am your ever-living restorer." After that they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs of water, and several palm trees. So they encamped there by the springs. Chapter 16. Then the children of Israel marched from Elim, and came to Araph, in the desert of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month, from their departure out of the land of the Mitzrayim. But all the families of the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron in the desert. And the children of Israel said to them, "Why do you kill us by the hand of the ever-living? In the land of the Mitzrayim we sat by the flesh pots to gorging. Why have you brought all the congregation to this desert to die of hunger?" Therefore the ever-living said to Moses, "I will rain bread for them from the skies, and the people shall go out to collect it day by day, so that I may try if they will walk in my laws or no. But upon the 6th day they must prepare what they bring in, which shall be twice as much as the daily portion." Moses and Aaron consequently said to all the children of Israel, "Tomorrow morning you shall know that the ever-living brought you out of the land of the Mitzrayim, for in the morning you shall see the power of the Lord by his listening to your complaints against the ever-living and us, regarding what you have complained against us. And," Moses continued, "the ever-living will give you flesh to eat in the evening, and bread in the morning to your fill, because the ever-living has heard your complaints that you have complained against him and us. For you not only complain against us, but against the Lord." Then Moses said to Aaron, "Command all the families of the children of Israel to appear before the ever-living, for he has heard their murmurs." Consequently Aaron commanded all the families of the children of Israel, and they presented themselves in the desert, and saw the splendor of the ever-living appear in the cloud. Then the ever-living spoke to Moses, saying, "I have heard the complaints of the children of Israel. Speak to them and say, in the evening you shall eat flesh, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, so that you may know that I am your ever-living God." When evening arrived, therefore, quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning a layer of dew surrounded the camp. But when the layer of dew exhaled from the surface of the desert, grains like scales, grains like hoarfrost, covered the ground. When the children of Israel saw it, they said each to his brother, "Man-huah," for they did not know what it was. But Moses said to them, "This is the bread which the ever-living has given for you to eat, and this is the thing that he commands. You are to collect each of you according to his requirements, a homer for each individual member of the living persons that you entertain in your tents." The children of Israel accordingly did so, and collected it from the desert, much and little. But when they measured by the homer, there was no excess to the much, or deficiency to the little. Each had according to the consuming mouths. For Moses had said to them, "Let not any remain until the morning." But some listened not to Moses, but reserved it by them until the morning, when it bred worms. Moses, however, was angry with them. Therefore they collected it morning by morning, according to the consuming mouths. For when the sun arose, it melted. But when the 6th day came, they collected a double quantity of bread, 2 homers to each. And all the heads of families came to Moses and reported it. When he replied to them, "That is what the ever-living commanded. You shall rest a holy rest to the ever-living tomorrow. What you have to bake, bake it, and what you have to boil, boil it, and all the remainder keep by you until the morning." So they laid it up until the morning, as Moses commanded, and it did not stink, and worms were not in it. Then Moses said, "Eat it today, for today is a rest to the ever-living. You shall not go out into the field. You shall collect it 6 days, but the 7th day is a rest. You shall not do it then." Yet it happened that on the 7th day a man went out to collect, but he found none. The ever-living therefore said to Moses, "Until when shall I entreat them to observe my commands and laws? Let them see that the ever-living has given them the rest, for he has given to them on the 6th day bread for 2 days. Let each stay at his home. Let none go out from the camp on the 7th day." So the people stayed at home on the 7th day. Thus the house of Israel called it man, and it was like a seed of coriander, white, and the taste of it like cakes and honey. Moses also said, "This is the rule that the ever-living commands to be practiced continually, to be kept for your generations, so that you may see the bread which I caused you to eat in the desert, whilst I brought you out from the land of Mitzar." Therefore Moses said to Aaron, "Take a basket, and put into it a full homer of manna, and place it before the presence of the ever-living, to preserve for their posterity." So as the ever-living commanded to Moses, Aaron laid it up in the presence, as a witness, in the treasury. And the children of Israel ate the manna for 40 years, until they came to the land to rest. They ate the manna, until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. The end of chapters 9 through 16 of the book of Exodus. Recording by Mark Penfold.